Hello and welcome. Maybe you're watching this first, but I'm hoping that you watched um, the do's and don'ts of presentations before watching this. But either way, uh, this is how to give an effective online group presentation. Now, the reason I made this video is because our presentations or the presentations that you are going to give will not be in a classroom. As you know, I've mentioned this in class. Uh, you will be either live on Zoom or you will give me a video presentation. So either way, it will be online more or less. And so this is a video on how to give an effective online group presentation. Now, as you can see, and there aren't many slides here, but each slide will have a link to where I got this. So this is not mine. These are very good ideas that I found online that I wanted to share with you. So again, as all of these PowerPoints, they're all in the class folder, and you can find the PowerPoint and you can then go to this link and you can look at more. As a matter of fact, I will even show you the website once we are done with this. Okay, so let's get started with how to give an effective online group presentation. Okay, so first, planning, always. Always plan what you're going to say. So you're in a group, and this is for groups, plan. Have a plan, know what you're going to say, right? We're going to get into each of these. Preparation, right. I've always said, I think if you watch the do's and don'ts, I did say, practice, practice, practice. So here, prepare, 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 you know. And of course, practice. They kind of go hand in hand. Okay, so plan it, prepare it, practice. Okay, planning. Okay, the planning phase should put everyone on the same track by setting up goals. So set up goals, set up deadlines for certain things, and then try to reach those deadlines so that everybody is ready, so that everybody has done their part in making the presentation. So one more time, the planning phase should put everyone on the same track by setting up goals, deadlines, and team guidelines, determining the method of communication, and creating a vision for the team. So, like planning, always important. And select a team leader. You should already have one. Discuss the topic or discuss the assignment. I've already told you the topic will be me investing in your company. You're going to try and make me want to invest in your company. Okay, establish a division of labor, basically divide the parts up. Who's going to do what? Who's going to talk about what? Who's going to do the introduction? Who's going to do the conclusion? As far as the main points, if it's a group of 5, then obviously each student will do one thing, but if it's less than 5, you need to discuss and make sure that everybody understands exactly what they're doing and what they're going to say. And they can work on that part of their presentation only, but you should have I guess a cloud folder. Since you have G Suite, you can use Google, since G Drive is unlimited, and you can make a presentations folder so that it's shared with everybody, and everybody can collaborate, work together, make comments, those kinds of things. That's always a very good thing to do, especially since you can't really meet at school, not as often as you would like. All right, create a meeting schedule. Right, whether it's Kakao or Zoom, you should meet as often as you can to make sure that everybody is doing what they're doing, and practicing, which I'm going to get into later, and to talk about things that might need to be changed, and of course an agreement. Make sure that everybody agrees with what they're supposed to do and how it's going to be done. So this is very important. So let me just repeat one more time. The planning phase should put everyone on the same track. You should have team guidelines. You should determine or choose a method of communication and create a vision for the team. All right, you should have a team leader. I hope you have one by now. You should. You already know what your topic is. You should choose who's going to do what, create a meeting schedule, create a team agreement, and like I said, you should have a shared folder so that everybody can have their work in that folder and people can look at each other's work and maybe make comments. This is good, but I think you should change this, those type of things. And obviously you can talk about all of these things at a meeting, via Zoom or Kakao. And it should be the meeting, you should establish this meeting that we're going to meet once a week, 2 times a week, 3 times a week, the days, the times. All right, that's the planning. All right, preparation. You will need to focus on completing your assigned task in a time allotted. I mentioned earlier, you should have a deadline. Please have your part ready at this time, or in this day at this time. Remember, nobody, and I mean nobody, likes it when one person didn't do their work. You're working as a team, right? Stick to the scheduled meetings. So you choose to meet 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m. Stick to it. Unless it's an emergency, always make it to your meetings. Even if they turn into checkpoints, it's important to stay in touch. It's very important. Preparation may take weeks to complete. Well, at this point, yeah, and stay in touch and share what you are doing. At the end of the preparation period, you should have your part of the presentation completed and ready for review. So, you should also make a deadline for, let's have everything done and ready for practice on this day so that we can practice at this time. So everybody's part of the presentation should be completed on whatever day, time you choose. And everybody's part of the presentation should be ready for review, meaning everybody is looking at everybody else's presentation, making notes, talking about things that should be changed. If those things need to be changed, then you can change them, reorganize, because you want to be ready to practice. All right. You should schedule several sessions or meetings of practice to go through the presentation. If you're going to be doing the presentation live on Zoom, use Zoom. If you're going to do a video, you can still use Zoom. But yeah, you should always practice, practice, practice. Okay, make corrections to a master copy and then review those corrections once the whole presentation is done. So you'll have everybody's part in a master copy, what the pre-presentation will be when I watch it or when I watch you, and changes should be made on that master copy. So when everybody is happy, do a dry run of the presentation. A dry run means as if it's real. So you're going to do a practice of the presentation as if you are actually giving the presentation. And you will probably make some changes. Something was wrong, little things. You might find little things and you might need to change them. That's why it's always good to at least have one final practice presentation as if it was real. All right, and get some rest. This is really important. Get some rest before you present. It's important to be rested before a big presentation, and it will show, even online. If you aren't rested, trust me, it will show. Now, if you're making a video, that's a different story. Just do your part of the video when you feel rested. All right, so I believe we are at the end here. Yes, so I'm now going to show you this site. And I am doing this on Zoom, so let me share the screen with you. All right, so this is where I got my idea. The name of the site is eLearners. You can just go to elearners.com and search for this. But yeah, here it is: planning, preparation, practice. Then it gets into, all the things as to why you should do it. Right? Selecting a team leader. But anyway, I'm not going to read all of this, but this gets into more detail about what was said here, right? For the preparation, practice, presentation, do list. Okay, this I will read. All right, this is what you should do. So do know your material. Reading a script. I mean, I don't like reading from the script, but since we are at this site, I'm going to read what they have to say. Reading a script is very obvious, and let's face it, anyone can read a script. And a lot of times, what happens is I notice the students will use the PowerPoint as their script, and they'll keep looking at the screen and not at the audience. Also, a lot of times, the students don't want to look at the PowerPoint. They're like, okay, this is not good. So they try to memorize, and then they sound like a robot. Oh, what am I supposed to say next? Okay, and then, it's so just know your material. Use the PowerPoint as main points, main notes that will help you in remembering what you're supposed to be saying. Remember, I don't know what you're going to say. I don't have any script. So I don't know if you forgot a line or something like that, I don't know. So again, know your material. Don't read a script. Don't memorize a script. Do assign someone as a timekeeper. Now, when I set for the video, the video can be as long as you need it to be. But remember, for Zoom Live, it's about 12 to 14 minutes, and then you should be done. So this is where somebody keeping time, so that maybe your presentation is now 16 minutes. What do we need to cut? What do we need to take out? What do we need to do to make it so that we fit in to maximum 14 minutes? Okay, and have a signal in case someone runs over. You can ring their cell phone or send a private chat room message to let them know. This is during the practice, right? Also, do practice on your own so you don't use filler words like, and you've heard me use these words, okay, like, these are distracting. Do know the order of the presenters. It's painful to have a team fumble around discussing who's doing what next. So if you're doing the presentation live on Zoom, you don't really have time when you come to Zoom to then talk, say, please give us a minute and talk about what you're going to do or who's first and all that. You should already know who's first, who's second, who's going to be doing the introduction, who's going to be doing the conclusion, what main points are each of you going to be speaking about. You should already have all of this down. You should already have done at least one practice as if the presentation was real. Okay, do address the listeners, or in this case, me, the listener, occasionally to make sure they are still listening. And yes, I will be listening, trust me. Phrases like, how does that sound? Are you still with me? Give the listeners a chance to acknowledge they are listening. Okay, for number 5, you don't really need to ask me that. Your audience is me. I will be watching, yes. Sometimes my face will be away from the camera making notes about your presentation. I'm still listening, I'm just making notes. Do know which person is going to answer questions so there's no fumbling around. So if I have any questions, I will mention your names, right? Minji, you mentioned sales. Can you tell me more about why you think sales are going up? So I will mention your name, but please have your answers ready. This goes back to number 1. Know your material. Know what you're talking about. Okay, so yeah, perfecting the effective presentation can take practice, and then of course, this gets into other things, but of course, this is very important. Perfecting an effective presentation can take practice. So Right. I know this is not your first time giving a presentation, but I know it's, for most of you, it's the first time giving a presentation in English. So I really hope that this helped. And I'm going to actually leave this here in the presentation do list. So just a reminder, know your material, assign someone to keep time. This is more for during the practice sessions. Don't use distracting words like okay. Know the order of the presenters and exactly who's going to be talking about what before you even make the video or come to Zoom. And for number 5, that's more for future. Like in the future, when you are giving a presentation to a large group, number 5 is important. You know, make sure that everybody is still with you. So make sure that the audience is still listening by asking questions that you see here. And number 6 ties into number 1. Do know which person is going to answer the questions that are asked. So that means that each person needs to know their material really well. But again, for number 6, if I have a question, I will mention a name, what that person talked about, and I might ask a little bit more about that topic. So yeah, but questions, I probably won't have any, but if I do, I will mention your name first. So, how to give an effective online presentation. This is the website. The PowerPoint that I just showed you, let's go back to it, is here, and it's in the class folder with the link on every slide. And this link, of course, brings you to that site, which we just looked at. Okay, so I'll leave it here with practice, practice, practice. Always, always, always practice. All right, that's it. I'll probably see you in class. Bye.